My entitled stepson refused to bond with me, favoring his ungrateful girlfriend, so I shaved his head as punishment. Now he has pressed charges, causing me to lose my job, and my girlfriend left me, taking his son's side, and I'm getting harassed by my stepson's girlfriend and her flying monkeys. I'm not proud to be here, but I don't have anyone else to talk to. I messed up bad. I knew I had a temper. I've been keeping it on a leash for years, telling myself it was under control. But last weekend proved I was dead wrong. I served 12 years in the military. I'm not going to paint myself like some hero. I did my job, saw some SHT, lost people, and came back a little different than I went in. I've done therapy. I've tried to stay on top of it. For the most part, I have. I don't get in fights. But every now and then, when I feel disrespected or powerless, something inside me coils up. I usually walk it off. Until this time. 2 years ago, I met Kara. She's 35, works in healthcare, and is always busy, but still manages to be one of the kindest people I've known. We hit it off. She made me feel like I could build something again. I'd been divorced once before, no kids. Kara had a teenage son, Liam, who was 14 at the time. He was difficult from the jump. No dad in the picture. No discipline. He wasn't used to being told no. When I first met him, he rolled his eyes at everything I said and tried to test me like I was some substitute teacher. He called me drill sergeant behind my back, slammed doors, and refused to come to the table for dinner. I didn't take the bait. I was firm but calm. Gave him boundaries, explained rules. If he left his stuff all over the living room, it got boxed and put away. Missed curfew. No weekend plans. I wasn't harsh, I just wasn't soft. Kara said it was good for him, and even thanked me once for stepping up. But then she'd undercut it later by letting him off the hook, saying, "He's just a teenager. He's going through stuff." Fast forward to 6 months ago, I moved in. It didn't get better. He never accepted me. And honestly, I wasn't just trying to be some hard-ass stepdad. I genuinely wanted to connect. Especially after Kara told me she didn't want more kids. She said she was stretched too thin already, that she wanted to focus on Liam. So I thought, all right, he's it then. I'll make this work. I tried everything. Took him to a football game. Bought him a decent headset for his PC. I drove him to his girlfriend's house, even though I couldn't stand that girl. She's disrespectful, calls adults by their first names, talks back, swears openly, no shame. Still, I figured, if being the cool adult helped Liam open up, maybe it'd be worth it. But the more I tried, the more he pulled away. He'd literally run off to his girlfriend's house or crash at his friend's to avoid me. I'd make dinner, wait at the table, and it'd just be me and a cold plate across from mine. Kara would say, "He's a teenager. They go through phases." And then came that night. Kara was on an overnight hospital shift. Liam told me he was going to a chill get-together with his girlfriend. I told him midnight curfew, no drinking. He just laughed and said, "You're not my effing dad." I stayed up, drinking more than I usually do. I was pissed, worried, and pacing the floor. Midnight passed. Then 1, then 2. Around 2:30 am, I heard them come in, him and his girlfriend, both drunk off their arses, giggling and bumping into furniture. He reeked of vodka. I asked where he'd been. He just smirked and said, "Why do you care?" Something in me snapped. I know I should have walked away. Instead, I grabbed him by the arm and dragged him up to the bathroom. His girlfriend followed, trying to pull him back, yelling at me. I told her to get the hell out of the house. She screamed something and ran off. I locked the door behind us. Liam was yelling, calling me a psycho, and pushing at my arms. He actually balled his fist and stepped towards me like he was going to swing. He stopped himself, but I saw the rage in his eyes, and I was just as far gone. I grabbed the clippers from under the sink. I said if he wanted to act like a little punk, I'd make him look like one. He yelled. I yelled louder. I started shaving patches of his head. He fought back, but I outweighed him. At some point, he just started sobbing. I stopped when I saw his reflection, humiliated, crying, drunk, and half-shaved. That moment cut deeper than anything he'd ever said to me. I didn't feel victorious. I felt like a monster. The next morning, I tried to fix it. I offered to take him to a barber and tried to say I didn't mean to go that far. But he wasn't hearing it. He stared at me with this cold, violent rage, told me if I ever touched him again, he would hit me, and he meant it. He left and didn't come back that night. Went to Kara's sister's house. When Kara got home and heard what happened, she looked at me like I was someone she didn't know. Then she told me to pack a bag and get out. I did. I've been crashing on a friend's couch since. That was 5 days ago. Since then, Liam's girlfriend and his friends have gotten hold of my number. I'm getting prank calls, threats. I've blocked a dozen numbers already. And honestly, I deserve it. I humiliated a kid who was already hanging by a thread with me. I crossed a line I can't uncross. And I did it drunk, in a rage, while trying to pretend I was just enforcing discipline. I've apologized. I went to Kara's sister's house 2 days ago, thinking maybe I could just talk to Liam one-on-one. Kara wouldn't even let me through the door. She said Liam's still traumatized. I never hit him, not once, but what I did felt like a violation. And that's on me. I can't spin that. I left a handwritten letter in their mailbox. Not some, sorry you feel that way crap. I owned it. I told him I didn't do what I did because I hated him. I did it because I thought control would equal respect. And because I was too much of a coward to admit that I was hurt when he kept pushing me away. I told him I was wrong. That I'm not his father. And I never earned the right to act like one. That I was trying to replace something I lost a long time ago with a fantasy version of a family I never really had. It was selfish and unfair to him. He didn't reply. No one has. Kara hasn't unblocked me. Her sister texted me saying I need to give them space and not contact Liam again unless invited. I thought I had my anger under control. I used to be a ticking time bomb back in my early days. I broke a guy's nose in a bar once when he bumped into my girlfriend. I was 24. Got suspended for fighting on base at 26. Started therapy at 30 after my divorce. I swore I wouldn't let anger ruin anything again. But I didn't fix the anger. I just buried it under layers of structure and discipline. The military gave me a script, and I followed it. At home, there's no script. There are emotions, rejection, and vulnerability. And when that stuff started hitting me in the chest, I fell back on what I knew: force, control, escalation. The worst part is, I think I genuinely cared about Liam. Still do. He was a smart, sharp kid underneath all the defiance. His grades were solid. He had leadership in him. But he'd never had a man show him what restraint looked like. And then I came along and gave him the exact opposite. Now he probably thinks all authority figures are just bullies in disguise. That eats me alive. I wanted a family. That was it. Not because I was lonely, though I probably was, but because I wanted something real again. Kara and Liam, they were that. Or could have been. But I destroyed it in 10 minutes of madness. Now I'm 38, sitting on a friend's busted couch, eating microwave dinners, and screening unknown numbers. And I can't stop replaying that night in my head. I don't expect forgiveness. But I'm asking Reddit, what the hell do I do now? Comments. Comment 1. You didn't discipline him. You dominated him. Like some drill sergeant cosplaying as a stepdad. What kind of grown arse man thinks shaving a kid's head in a drunken fit is anything but psychological warfare? This wasn't a one-time slip. This was years of unresolved rage, military-induced or not, spilling onto a teenager who never asked for you to be in his life. And now you're eating microwave dinners like you're the victim. Get over yourself. Go to therapy. Stay out of their lives. Maybe in a few years, if Liam ever wants to hear from you again, it'll be on his terms. But don't go knocking on that door again. You've done enough damage. Comment 2. You're lucky you're not in a jail cell right now. You kidnapped a minor, yes. Locking him in a bathroom counts. You assaulted him. And you did it while both of you were intoxicated. That's not just child abuse. That's potential felony territory, depending on where you live. If Kara or her sister decides to press charges, you could be looking at criminal court, not just Reddit comments. I hope he files a complaint. You need to face the full weight of what you did. That kid deserved protection, not a wannabe tough guy playing boot camp at home. And let's be real, he wasn't your son. You had no legal or moral right to touch him like that, especially not in a drunken rage. You didn't discipline him. You dominated and humiliated him because you were hurt and couldn't handle your own emotional failures. That's on you. You don't get redemption just because you regret it. He deserved better. And frankly, Kara did too. Comment 3. You didn't just F up, you terrorized that boy. You took your own emotional scars and carved them into someone else. You knew you had anger issues and still chose to drink while waiting for a kid you already felt disrespected by. That's premeditated recklessness. You're lucky they didn't press charges. If this were my kid, you'd be facing cops, not prank calls. Here's what you do. Stay away. No letters. No doorstep speeches. Just go. Get therapy with someone who specializes in PTSD and anger management. Tell your buddy the full truth and have someone hold you accountable. You don't deserve to be part of their family. Not now. Maybe never. The only redemption you can hope for is becoming the kind of man who never does this again. Update. It's been almost a month since I made that post. I wish I had a better update to give, something that hinted at healing or progress. But if I'm being honest, I've lost everything. And I don't know if I'll ever get it back. Kara did report what happened. She didn't press charges herself. But after Liam's aunt heard the full story and saw the aftermath, she made sure the incident was formally documented. Cops showed up at the place I was staying. I cooperated and told them everything. They asked questions about alcohol, physical restraint, and prior behavior. They didn't arrest me. Technically, there wasn't enough for criminal charges because there was no physical injury, and Liam refused a medical evaluation. But there's now a police incident report on file with my name on it. I've been issued a restraining order. I can't contact Liam directly or indirectly. Kara requested it to keep things civil, and honestly, I don't blame her. She also officially ended things. No in-person conversation. She had her sister drop off a box of my things and included a single note. Please don't contact us again. We need peace. That hit harder than I expected. Not a single word about what we had or what we almost built. I've written her maybe 20 emails. Never sent any of them. I called her once on a blocked number like a damn coward. I begged. I actually begged. I told her I'd go to counseling, take anger management courses, and even sign a statement promising I'd never step foot near Liam again if it gave me a shot at repairing anything. She hung up. I haven't tried again. Since then, life's gone from bad to worse. I lost my job 2 weeks ago. I was working contract security, and the company's been cutting back. Officially, it was a budget reduction, but I'm not stupid. I know word got around. One of the supervisors is friends with a guy Kara used to date. The timing was too perfect. Now I'm broke, jobless, and crashing on a buddy's pull-out couch. He's a decent guy, a former Navy man, but I can tell he's sick of me being here. His wife gives me side eyes. My savings are almost gone. I can't even pay him rent. I've reached out to family, and nobody's responded. My sister blocked me years ago after a blowout fight, and my mother told me once she was done bailing me out emotionally. That was before this incident. I started therapy again with my friend's financial support. A different therapist this time, someone who specializes in veterans and complex PTSD. We've only had 3 sessions, but already she's pointed out patterns I didn't want to admit. My discipline was really just a coping mechanism. I created rules so I wouldn't have to feel things. I tried to control people because I couldn't control myself. She said what I did to Liam was likely triggered by more than just alcohol. It was a full-on flashback to when I used to command respect with fear. That realization makes me feel even worse. And Liam, God, that poor kid. I see his face every time I close my eyes. That look of betrayal, of panic, of raw humiliation. I didn't just ruin his night, I might have messed with his self-worth in a way that sticks for years. That guilt is something I don't know how to live with yet. And I miss Kara. Desperately. She wasn't perfect, but she had this quiet strength I admired. She loved Liam fiercely. I see now that maybe part of why she didn't want another child was because she was already doing everything she could to raise one right, and maybe she knew deep down I wasn't the partner she needed. She gave me a chance. I broke it. Now I wake up every morning around 4 a.m., the same time I used to for deployment drills. Except now, it's silence. No mission, no structure, no purpose. Just an empty gut, a stale couch, and the knowledge that I wrecked the only meaningful relationship I had left. I don't want to die. But I sure as hell don't know how to live like this either. So Reddit, I'm asking again. What now? I know I can't fix what I did to Liam. I know Kara has every right to keep me out of their lives. But how do I even start to become someone worth forgiving? Not for them, even if I never hear from them again, but for myself. Is there any redemption after this kind of mistake? Or is this it? Did I blow my one shot at building something real, because I never dealt with who I actually am? Thank you for watching the video.